I was born in Vienna in January 1938, and 2 months later, the Anschluss took place, and my parents, together with my brother and me, succeeded in escaping. And after living for a few years through a number of countries, we ended up in 1943 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, which is where I grew up. I come from a very assimilated family, and my parents went to a Catholic church in Buenos Aires. They converted my brother and me. So I didn't grow up within the Jewish community or with any Jewish education whatsoever. So I went to the School of Engineering at the University of Buenos Aires and worked at the headquarters of Hewlett-Packard for a few years. And then I was offered to be the general manager of the branch of Hewlett-Packard in Mexico. And here I was, living in Mexico, having achieved everything that my parents wanted me to become in life. You know, having a good academic degrees, to a good profession, making good money. I was enjoying life, I was being successful in my profession. And at the same time, what really was happening, that I was feeling terribly empty. I decided that I had to raise a family and come back to my roots. And the only way I could think of was to come to Israel on Aliyah. So in January 1977, I already had quit my job at Hewlett-Packard. I came to Israel and I was working full-time for the community center Beit Pomeranz, which is almost across the street from Ohr Somayach. So one day I said, look, I so much want to know what Judaism is about, what people that are religious, that I never spoke really with religious people. I want to know what this whole thing is about. So I went across the street, and here I was introduced to the Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Notter Schiller, a charismatic person, and who received me, like if we were acquainted for a long time. So we sat down, had a good schmooze. I told him about my background. He was my mentor, actually, much more than just, I felt he really took me under his wing. He said, look, I want to offer you something. Why don't you come once or twice a week? I'm going to arrange for you to sit with a rabbi, and you're going to start talking and learning, maybe. I sat with Rabbi Avigdor Bonchek. And obviously I bombarded Rabbi Bonchek with questions, where was God during the Holocaust? What religion was all about? I came from a very academic, logical, rational world. What was this whole thing about? At a certain stage, after about a year, I decided to quit my job and to come for a full year to study at Ohr Somayach. To me, becoming religious was not just a matter of starting to accept rules that I had to now keep. I felt that I had to really get into myself, into my system, the understanding of this whole thing. And I felt that Rabbi Notter Schiller had really got me into this to be an honest, sincere Jew that doesn't come here to just learn how to do the mitzvot in a mechanical way, but to actually become a Jew. This was for me becoming a Jew. Actually, I went back to work full-time at the Jewish agency, and every afternoon when I finished my work, I went to the kollel for 3 hours. Since I left Ohr Somayach, I have lived like a frum Jew. I have put on tefillin every day. I have davened in shul every morning, and I studied Torah throughout the years. There hasn't been practically a day in my life since then in which I haven't studied. But when I retired, it became a very important part of my life. About 7.5 years ago, somebody mentioned to me this concept of what is called Daf Yomi. Well, it turned me on. I decided I'm going to start this also. We haven't missed a day. And that's the way it's been, and we're finishing the entire HaShas on the 4th of January, which is 6 weeks away. It's impossible to describe the way I feel about coming from where I come, that I'm finishing the HaShas, to have been able to come to Israel, to live among my people, to study Torah, to have a family like I have. That I had the privilege to go over this phenomenal thing called the Talmud Babli. What else can I possibly have wished in life? It's really, I got everything. Yesh li kol. Thank you.